Hello and welcome back to 20SomethingsTV. My name is Max and we have a slew of amazing people here for the second part of our show tonight. We have Sydney, Amanda, Nick, and Caden. We have a lot of interesting things to talk about, but let's start with a serious one at that. We have the House passing the Equality Act. Now, I'm sure everyone's on the same page, but if you're out of the loop, the Equality Act is basically the addition of the Civil Rights Act. It states that no one can be discriminated against based on their sexuality or gender identity. And like I said, I think we're all pretty much on the same agreement that this is a good thing, right?
Heck yeah.
I totally think. Time.
I mean, how long? It's been how many years? 4 years since it's been brought up, and it's not been passed because it's been a majority Republican House, right?
Yeah, well, I think it's the Senate that's been stopping it because I guess since 2016, things have been all Republican. I don't know when officially the bill, I know it's been trying to be brought up for a while now, but it did pass in the House in 2019. But then because the Senate was still majority Republican, it got shut down there. And even still, there's people aren't sure if it's even going to pass in the Senate now because there are only it's split even. So there are 50 Republican or 50 Democrats. Well, technically there's 2 independents, but they vote Democrat. That will obviously say yes to it. But then there would still need to be at least 10 Republicans that agree to pass the bill in the Senate. And there just seems to be an overwhelming consensus among the Republican Party to not pass the Equality Act because they think it goes against someone's ability to freely practice their religion, which is, in my opinion, a bit nonsensical because if you can say it's my religion to discriminate against someone for who they love or how they express their gender, that's pretty awful, and you shouldn't be allowed to do that.
So basically you're saying that Republicans are saying that the Equality Act goes against their equality?
Mm-hmm.
In a sense, that's what it sounds like. Yeah. I think that it's just becoming a little extreme. I think they're getting a little over the top. Not to, I don't know, offend any religions, but I just definitely think it's more of a matter of respect for all. I think that people just want to be able to be accepted for themselves. And I think that that's the bottom line with this act that they're trying to.
The bottom line is we all heard it when we were kids, when this was actually a really big issue. If what they're doing in their own homes or, what doesn't affect me doesn't matter. And that's the truth though. That's what it is. What doesn't affect you doesn't matter. You shouldn't be against what people are doing to make themselves happy. And it is craziness that most of the Republican Party is against this when, it really has zero effect on any of us. It's just letting people be happy and, do their own thing. It's crazy. It's crazy.
And I think I don't like that they point to the religious argument as a reason not to pass this bill because it then I'm not religious, but I know people who are, and it gives religious people a bad rep because then everyone automatically assumes oh, you're religious, you're a Christian, whatever, you must hate gay people because that's what they see in the government. And it's no, that's the furthest thing from the truth. I know so many religious people that are so loving and accepting of the LGBTQ community, and they know what the Bible actually says and how it's been mistranslated because things get misinterpreted when you take them from language to language to language. And I just hate that then this small group of people in the government then puts a bad rep for those people out there by saying, well, we don't want to pass this, anti-discriminatory act because of religious reasons. It's just so bad on so many levels. And it just makes me sad that it's taken so long to try and to get something like this passed. And it just never works.
It's just so crazy that after all this time, right, we have still people fighting for almost feels like the almost basic rights almost everywhere, right? And sure, a whole bunch of good things have happened recently, but a whole bunch of bad things too. I'm glad this bill was passed, but Amanda, most, I think, out of all of us about this. Do you think it's going to pass through the Senate?
I would like to be hopeful because there are some, Republican senators out there that haven't it's kind of like the same thing with impeachment, right? There's some senators that weren't direct about how they felt about the act. Like some people, obviously, like I was reading an NPR article, so they are reaching out to all these different senators to see what their feelings are, and some people aren't being completely like straight up and saying that they support it or they don't. They're being a little bit like in a gray area about it. So I'm trying to stay hopeful that maybe some of them will come around, because there are some more like moderate Republican senators that do kind of support things that are typically more like Democratic. But I don't know, the fact that it needs to be like 10 of them. I know there's been acts in the past before where like there was even in the House, like there was only three Republican members of the House of Representatives that wanted to pass the bill out of like, I don't know, there's like over 100 of them. So looking at that kind of made me like, oh, and that's out of such a larger group. Like, I don't even know, once you shrink that number down to 50, like if they're even going to get one or two senators that are willing to pass it. So I don't know. I'd like to stay optimistic because I'm an optimistic Sagittarius, but thinking about it realistically, I'm like, I don't know, but we'll see.
Well, let's ask one more question, right? Let's say that what's going to happen with the bill? Does anything happen? Does it go back through the House again?
Oh, definitely. If it doesn't get passed this time around, there's no chance it doesn't get brought back up. I mean, with everything we're going through now, with equality issues, from, I mean, race equality to gender equality to sexuality equality, we're going to see this brought back up. There's no chance it doesn't. I mean, it's just crazy that it's even still a talking point. I mean, I can't. I went to a Catholic school for 13 years, and trust me, I know better than anyone that it's a talking point, and the fact that it is absolutely asinine. But it will be brought back up, 100%.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Sorry. No,
I'm sorry. I cut you off. Do you want to keep going?
no, I was going to say it will be brought back up if it's not like passed this time around, 100%. Sorry, Sydney, go ahead.
No, you're fine. I was just going to totally agree with you. I think that as our world grows more complex, these issues are only going to become more prevalent, and it's definitely something that needs to be taken care of, if not now, in the near future, as soon as it can be.
I think
getting people on board.
I think you put it in a really great way, Sydney. The world is getting more and more complex, but even some of the most basic issues are still affecting most of us. Or I guess if you're really rich, it's affecting you too. Lady Gaga had her dog stolen the other day. Why? And the dog walker was shot in the chest in the robbery.
Literally.
I had my dog stolen. I actually did. About 4 or 5 years ago, my parents were mowing the lawn down at their house that they have in South County, and my dog was walking around on the property, and a car pulled up, and Rufus he was a pug. His name was Rufus. He walked out on the front, sidewalk. He was looking at him on Point Judith Road, and the car drove off, and Rufus was gone. My dad drove around and found the car on a side street somewhere off of Point Judith Road, knocked on the door, and he got Rufus back.
Wow.
Oh my God.
At least it's a happy ending.
It's not uncommon. That happens.
Wow.
Crazy.
It's not uncommon.
He got shot in the chest.
That's uncommon.
That's a little more of an issue. I don't know if your dad had
no one got shot. No one got shot.
Thank God.
Worst case scenario there, Nick. But what happened to Lady Gaga was pretty crazy. Apparently, they were stolen, and then 2 days later, after she offered a $500,000, I want to say, reward to whoever returned the dogs, it might have been more. I think it was that. But I guess then 2 days later, an anonymous source returned the 2 dogs. So I found that to be a little suspicious. I don't know about any of y'all.
Yeah, I'm definitely curious onto like whether.
Definitely want to hear more details to the story.
Yeah, because I don't know. I thought I was reading that the person who brought them in like didn't explicitly say that they were like affiliated with whoever like
Right.
shop the dog walker, but then even still, like, how did you end up with these 2 dogs? Like, I don't know. It's just the whole situation is so weird. I was so confused. I feel like when I read that headline on Twitter, I was like,
Right,
okay,
it was
what?
kind of
Am I
all over
gonna
the
shop
place.
over dogs? And then, like, hello? Like,
Right, there's so much
Like,
happening
they
at once.
mhm.
dog
And honestly, it made me kind of nervous. I'm a dog sitter. Like, that's my job. I work for Rover, so I sit and walk dogs. And so now I'm like, oh my God, what if someone like
Do we
tries
know,
to
like,
Yeah,
why
like, that's
it
scary.
happened? Why did they like? I mean, I guess why they stole her dogs. It is Lady
Mhm.
Gaga's dogs or whatever. If you're crazy enough, but like, why did they shoot the
Yeah.
dog walker?
Right, like why take it
So
that
insane.
far?
It just seems so crazy. Do we have any like explanation as to what happened?
Yeah, and also like how did they
Yeah.
know that it was her dog? Like, I don't know. I don't know if unless you're
Like
like
they must
really,
have had to have some type of connection to know that
Yeah.
that was her dog.
Like they're
walker.
psychic.
Mhm.
Oh, that's
That's
Dog whisperer.
crazy.
powers. A dog whisperer.
So one commenter did say that apparently it may not have been related to the robbery, him getting shot in the chest and stealing the dogs. So I mean, there's obviously a lot of details we don't know about, but I mean, luckily though, Ryan Fisher, the guy that was shot in the chest, is okay. They got the
Mhm.
bullet out. He's not dead, and he's not going to die from the gunshot, which is really good to see. But still, I mean, it's a story to tell at the very least if you're Ryan. But Lady Gaga had her dog stolen and then returned. At least you can't say it was a PR incident or anything.
Yeah.
I mean, it was shot. You can't say it's PR if a guy got shot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's it is
It's
crazy. It
commitment.
is fishy though that an anonymous source just was like, "Oh, here you go." Like
Mhm.
that is really weird.
So weird.
That is
But
odd.
at the very least, you know, we talked about Rufus already. We talked about Lady Gaga's dogs. I think we all have our favorite pets too, right? We have our favorite animals, and whether or not we have pets or not, we also have probably a favorite type of animal as well. You know, since COVID started, I've adopted 2 dogs, and they're, you know, my prides and joy and all that fun stuff, and I love them. But what about you guys? Do you guys have any dogs, Sydney?
I have 3 dogs back home in Connecticut. I love them to death. They're these little guys. One of them is a Jack Russell Terrier mix. The other one's a Silky Poo. And the other one is a Golden Doodle, I want to say. They're all these little fluffy guys. They're super cute, but I definitely want to have a big dog of my own someday. I love German Shepherds personally. So definitely we'll be on the lookout in a year or 2 for my own.
What about you, Amanda?
I have a dog. I'm gonna go and bring us down to see her. She's a Karen Terrier. Her name's Bishka, and she's 13. We didn't name her that. I don't know what it means that was the name she came with, and we got her when she was 7 because some distant. Honestly, it's kind of a funny story how we got her. She came from a funeral because some distant relative of my mom, who like I've never met, with this old like 90-year-old woman used to own my dog, and then she died, and my dog is very hostile towards other animals, so she couldn't go. Like, there were other closer family members that wanted to take her in, and they couldn't because they already had pets, and Bishka she gave her own sister stitches. Like, she hates other animals. So my mom was like we didn't have a dog. Like the dog I had as a kid had died like a couple years prior, so my mom was like, I guess we'll take her. Like, she felt bad like going home and knowing maybe this dog is gonna like go to a pound or whatever. So she came home with the dog from the funeral, and now she's our loving Bishka, and we gave her a great home, and I'm gonna hide myself so we can go and see her.
Beautiful. You know, I have 2 dogs, Tilly and Benny. They're both Catahoula Mountain dogs. We got them from Louisiana, but they were like adopted from there, so we didn't like outright buy them, but they were still shipped here from like our adoption center in Rhode Island. But they're really cool. They have one has heterochromia, which is really nice. So he has one blue eye, one like brown eye, and then Tilly has these crystalline blue eyes, which are just fantastic to see. But Caden, please, for the love of God, do you not have a dog? Do you have a cat or something, or do we all have dogs?
So I have 2 dogs. I have a Puggle and I have a Maltese Poodle. They're my best friends. Oh.
Aww.
Sorry, I hate to cut you off. You can keep
No,
going.
you're good.
Bishka.
Yeah, no, my dream animal though, I want a pet snake. So
Really?
badly. I want
What
a
kind of
pet
snake?
more than anything in the world.
What kind of snake do you want to get?
I want to get a ball python.
Okay.
Yeah.
What separates that from other snakes?
Well, they're bigger snakes, and they just like to crawl, and like they like to wrap around people. And I'm just like, I don't know, like I like dogs, but like not a lot of people have snakes, so I'm like I kind of want a pet snake.
That would be cool.
Nice. And Nick, is Rufus still with us?
So unfortunately, Rufus
No.
is not still with us. Rufus was my
Oh.
childhood dog. I got him when I was in 6th grade. He since passed away. However, my mom has another pug named Ruby. I got her for her a couple years ago. Ruby's awesome. But personally, I have 3 cats. So my
Ooh.
girlfriend and I have 3 cats. I've got 2 big fluffy Maine Coons and a little tabby that my girlfriend just adopted like a few months ago. So 2 8-year-old cats and a kitten. Also, we have a bunny. My girlfriend's bunny has her own room in our apartment. Actually, this is my one cat who decided. This is Dala. So there you go.
Hello.
She heard her introduction being called, and she wants to be part of it. But no, yeah, we've got 3 cats and a bunny in our apartment. The bunny's name is Moose. We got Dala. My other cat's name is Kaiser, and the new kitten's name is Tank. And they're awesome and super friendly and super cool. I'm a dog person, but when you have cats for 6 years, they start to grow on you.
What made you want to name the cat Tank?
That was his name when we adopted him.
Is he like big?
I swear to God, the adoption place said when he came out, they said, "Oh my God, that's a tank," because he was so big. This is Tank. They said, "Oh my God, that's a tank." He's so big, and yeah, he's only 7 months old, and he's massive.
Wow.
Doesn't look that massive.
So this is Tank, and I got 3 fat cats. Basically, is where I'm going with this. Maybe I feed them too much. Maybe I'm a bad pet owner, but they're happy.
Oh, they are adorable. It's been great to have show and tell with all the pets. I wish I could bring my dogs here. They're not with me. Tilly just had surgery too, so she's not able to walk at the moment. So even if I could, I can't. But hopefully soon with everybody else going towards the end of the semester, maybe we can see more pets and have a part 2 of all this, right?
My 3rd one will be in at some point. I'll make sure to grab him. He's sleeping in the bed. He wants nothing to do with me.
Oh, look at that. Such a cute dog.
Yeah, she's tired. She says, "I'm out, guys. I'm done."
Vibing.
Yeah, I mean, that's us too. We're almost done. We're vibing too. And I think it's a great time to wrap everything up as well. We saw all the pets. We talked about Ryan Fisher getting shot in the chest over Lady Gaga's dogs. And luckily, though, everyone can go into the military now. But with that being said, guys, it's just about time to wrap things up. We'll see you guys next week on 20 Somethings TV. And don't go anywhere because we'll have many more episodes to come.